Welcome to LFC Transfer HQ, your ultimate source for all things Liverpool FC transfers. Like and subscribe for more football updates. Our first news is Liverpool have agreed to Virgil van Dijk's transfer demand after making wishes clear. Liverpool had a historic summer after spending more than £400 million on new signings, and Virgil van Dijk predicted the spree months before the transfer window opened. Liverpool gave Virgil van Dijk precisely the transfer window response he wanted after agreeing to sign a new contract at Anfield. The Dutch defender delighted Reds fans when he penned fresh terms in April, but he campaigned for the club to make a statement in the transfer window. Prior to that announcement, Arne Slot won the Premier League title in his first season as Liverpool coach despite failing to make a major outfield signing last summer. However, the Merseysiders made up for that frugality this year when they spent in excess of £400 million on new arrivals. The additions of attackers Alexander Isak, £130 million, Florian Wirtz, £116 million, and Hugo Ekitike, £82 million, in particular have got fans excited. And supporters will be reminded on Van Dijk's comments urging the club to go big before it was even known as to whether he'd remain at Anfield beyond this summer. Whatever happens in terms of players going out, players coming in, I think it should be a big summer, said the Dutchman shortly before his 2-year contract extension was confirmed. I think they're planning to make it a big summer, so we all have to trust the board, as a Liverpool-connected fan, to do the right job. I think Liverpool should be able to challenge for titles in the upcoming years. Many would be inclined to agree after seeing the business the club conducted across the board in recent weeks. And the Reds are already looking like good value to retain the Premier League title after winning each of their first 3 games. There was nary a part of Liverpool's squad that didn't receive reinforcements this summer. Slot's upgrades in attack are well-founded, while 18-year-old Giovanni Leone has given the club the potential Van Dijk successor they've long sought after. Andy Robertson also received fresh competition at left-back from Milos Kerkez, who appears to be Slot's preferred option. And the loss of Trent Alexander-Arnold was mitigated by the arrival of Jeremy Frimpong, who has dazzled at right-back thus far. Those investments weren't completely outside Liverpool's means either, after they sold nearly £200 million worth of talent. And that should help soothe the club's conscience after breaking from the more cost-conscious approach that so often prevailed during Jurgen Klopp's reign. Looking back now, Van Dijk's comments on the transfer window sound like a man with more knowledge of the club's plans than he might have let on. And after spending so little in the summer of 2024, it always seemed like a big response was likely ahead of Slot's sophomore season. Don't miss subscribe for news. Our second news is Liverpool growing more likely to ignore Marc Guehi to try and sign £43 million Premier League defender instead. Liverpool, unfortunately, missed out on signing Marc Guehi on deadline day. For most of the summer, the Reds were getting linked with a move for the Englishman, but in the end, nothing came to fruition. Indeed, the Anfield outfit did end up conducting a medical for the Crystal Palace captain, but since the Eagles couldn't find a replacement for him, they ended up pulling out of the move. And now, even though Guehi would be available for even cheaper in January, the Reds may now be turning their attention elsewhere. Liverpool now eyeing Brighton's Jean-Paul Van Dijk. Ever since Jarell Quansah was sold in the summer, it was clear that Liverpool would have to recruit some new defenders to bolster their ranks. Indeed, Giovanni Leone was brought in, but since he's just 18 years old, it hardly seems fair to rely on the Italian to be a regular starter. Granted, he did play a regular role for Parma last term, but since the Premier League is a massive step up from the Serie A, it isn't a surprise to see the Reds linked with another more experienced centre-back. And now, it seems like the Reds are exploring the market a little more with a fresh report from Give Me Sports stating that Liverpool have pinpointed Brighton's Jean-Paul Van Dijk as a potential target. There is also now a growing expectation that the Dutchman could leave the Amex in the near future, with only a memorable campaign likely to keep him at the club. Van Dijk is seen as an alternative target to Guehi, with the recruitment department at Liverpool devising plans for the future. Tottenham and Newcastle are also interested in signing Jean-Paul Van Dijk. Van Dijk is said to be worth around £43 million, which is a fairly decent price for a centre-back of his quality. The Dutchman has a contract that is set to run until June 2027, so if a move isn't sanctioned this season, Brighton would have to add an even bigger discount on their asking price. Even though Liverpool are eyeing him as an alternative to Guehi, the Give Me Sport report outlines that the Reds are facing competition from Tottenham and Newcastle to acquire his services. At the moment, Van Dijk is delaying putting pen to paper on a contract with Brighton to see if the interest from any of the three clubs will become concrete. Of course, only time will tell what the future has in store, but for now, it's anyone's guess what could happen. £45m Liverpool player came so close to leaving on deadline day before Premier League move collapsed. Liverpool had a massive clear-out over the course of the summer transfer window. Even though Arne Slot led his team to a Premier League title last term, it's clear that he still believed improvements could be made to his team. Stay tuned for more updates on LFC Transfer HQ, transfer moves, player signings, and latest news. Don't miss subscribe for more LFC. Our third news is Liverpool sent Alexander Isak reality check as Sweden boss says, it's a risk to play him. Alexander Isak completed a £125 million transfer from Newcastle to Liverpool on Monday, but the 25-year-old striker is not fit enough to play, according to the Sweden manager. Liverpool fans will have to wait to see the best of Alexander Isak, with Sweden manager Jon Dahl Tomasson laying bare the reality of his current fitness level. The Reds ended a bitter summer transfer window saga when they completed the £125 million signing of Isak on deadline day. He was the headline addition of an extremely busy summer for Liverpool, who splashed £450 million on new players. Isak scored 27 times in all competitions for Newcastle last season and finished second behind Mohamed Salah in the race for the Premier League Golden Boot. And while he ultimately got his dream transfer to Liverpool, his methods have come at a cost. The 25-year-old went on strike at Newcastle, refusing to play for them until they granted his wish to leave. He was forced to train by himself and did not go on the Magpies pre-season tour, leaving him well short of fitness. Isak was called up for Sweden's World Cup qualifiers in the international break, but was an unused substitute as they drew 2-2 with Slovenia on Friday night. Tomasson started Arsenal star Viktor Gyökeres up front alongside Newcastle's £55 million summer addition Anthony Elanga and explained afterwards that Isak was never an option. We would have loved to play him, everyone would want it, the Sweden boss explained. But since he only had 3 training sessions and no pre-season and of course no match time, the risk was too great to use him today. Asked if Isak could play against Kosovo on Monday, Tomasson replied, hopefully, as a game changer. But we have to do the right things with him, in the long and short term. His words echo those from Isak himself, who was open about his lack of sharpness after joining Liverpool. Yeah, of course, I think that's the ambition, he told the club website when asked if he could be available to face Burnley after the international break. However, I've had a tricky summer where I haven't played any games and I've had restricted training, so I think that's one to judge and to analyze where I am at and how much I am ready to give. But I certainly want to play as soon as possible. Asked what he could improve, he added, everything. I think I have a lot to give, I think I have a lot to improve. I'm a striker but I always want to give as much as possible to the team, mainly goals but much more than that as well. So yeah, everything. Liverpool have won all 3 of their Premier League games this season, beating Bournemouth, Newcastle and Arsenal. But their performances have left a lot to be desired and Slot will hope that the arrival of Isak can make a difference when they return to action against Burnley on Sunday, September 14th at Turf Moor. Our last news is Liverpool plot swoop to sign Bayern Munich's Michael Olise. Liverpool are reportedly interested in signing Bayern Munich forward Michael Olise, as per the Daily Mail. After being impressed by the 23-year-old's performances for Crystal Palace, the record German champions decided to purchase him last summer. The Frenchman enjoyed a stellar debut campaign at Allianz Arena, scoring 17 goals and registering 18 assists across all competitions. Moreover, he netted 3 goals and notched up 2 assists in 5 appearances in the Club World Cup. Olise has continued to showcase his productivity this season, scoring 4 goals in as many appearances in all tournaments. Now, the Daily Mail report that Liverpool have started exploring options to replace Mohamed Salah, who is set to turn 34 next year. The Bayern Munich star is high on their wish list and could make a concrete approach to secure his service next summer or the summer after that, with the Egyptian's existing deal set to expire in 2027. Olise is valued at around £87 million by Transfermarkt and still has 4 years left in his current contract. Therefore, Bayern Munich aren't in any rush to cash in on him, meaning Liverpool will have to table an unrefusable proposal to persuade them to let him leave. Olise is a left-footed right-winger by trait, like Salah, and is also comfortable in the CAM role. He is technically sound, can dribble past opposition defenders in tight areas, has the ability to score goals from set pieces, and is efficient in creating opportunities for fellow attackers. Olise has established himself as one of the best forwards at Bayern Munich and is yet to reach his prime. Therefore, he would be a great coup for Liverpool should they purchase him. Meanwhile, although Salah is edging closer to the twilight of his career, he is in very good shape physically and could be able to perform at the highest level for a few more years. He pretty much single-handedly guided the Reds to win the Premier League title last term. So, it is going to be interesting to see what the Merseyside club eventually decide to do regarding the right flank over the coming years. Liverpool have reportedly agreed to Virgil van Dijk's transfer demand after the captain made his wishes clear. Meanwhile, the Reds are set to ignore Marc Guehi in favor of signing a £43 million Premier League defender, and plans are in motion for a shock swoop on Bayern Munich star Michael Olise. Big changes are coming at Anfield. Stay tuned for the latest Liverpool transfer news, updates, and reactions. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more breaking stories. Thanks for watching. That's all for today's transfer update. But the transfer window never sleeps, and neither do we. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for the latest Liverpool FC transfer news, rumors, and confirmed deals. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update, because at LFC Transfer HQ, you'll never walk alone.